Hi and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Patterson and I'm glad to have you with us. It's Biketoberfest and once again, local law officials are reminding residents to look twice, save a life. We'll get some tips and pointers on getting around later in the show. And Volusia Here and Now reporter Joanne Magley shows us what one Volusia County neighborhood is doing about a bear problem. Then we'll cover where you need to go to get all the information you need on the Affordable Health Care Act. And finally, we'll join Community Information Director Dave Byron in the studio for a chat with Ray Salazer, Executive Director of the Volusia Flagler United Way. Those segments, news, and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. Stay tuned. Americans have a new way to shop for health insurance with the October 1st rollout of the Affordable Care Act's Health Insurance Marketplace. The marketplace can be found at healthcare.gov. It serves as a one-stop shop where private insurers compete for your business, especially if you don't have insurance. You'll be able to choose among health plans to find the one that fits your needs and budget. Confused? Well, you're not alone. Volusia County's 6 regional libraries, anticipating numerous questions from patrons, have stepped up to the plate. They will offer free workshops throughout October and November to help residents navigate the new health insurance marketplace.
The staff was faced with patrons coming in and asking questions about the Affordable Care Act, and so we decided to instruct people and start educating the staff on the fact that you could actually go online, use an 800 number, or use an actual paper copy. And so we decided to also check with the different organizations so that they could come in and help people with their questions and help apply for the insurance.
For a complete list of workshops, you can visit volusia.org/ACA. Attendees who need help enrolling on the computer may sign up for assistance programs. The library system has also set up a link with volusialibrary.org that helps to answer basic questions and provide a direct link to healthcare.gov. Volusia County is gearing up for the 21st annual Biketoberfest, which kicks off this Thursday. Thousands of riders will roll into the county for an extended weekend of sun, beaches, entertainment, and, of course, bikes. Popular annual activities include motorcycle shows and rallies, live music, racing at Daytona International Speedway, scenic rides, and top manufacturers showcasing their latest and greatest models. Many bikers congregate on Main Street in Daytona Beach and at Destination Daytona in Ormond Beach, but the week has become a county-wide event. Volusia County residents and visitors are encouraged to use extra caution when driving during the 10-day event. In 2007, the Volusia County Council launched a Look Twice, Save a Life campaign that is now being used statewide.
Over half of the crashes that involve cars and motorcycles are this type of scenario where a car pulls out in front of a motorcyclist and then we have a crash. So drivers need to look twice, that way they can avoid a crash. Motorcyclists need to be very aware. The types of crashes that we see with motorcyclists usually are from them speeding or for them driving impaired or somebody that's just not been riding a motorcycle long enough. We've seen fatalities reduce over the last couple years and we want to continue that trend.
According to national and local statistics, about half of all motorcycle fatalities are caused by motorists, most often when a motorist is turning left in front of a biker. Motorcycle accidents caused by bikers are usually related to impairment, speed, or inexperience.
When you ride a motorcycle, you have to have extra skills to ride on 2 wheels. And if you have that one drink, it can fog and cloud your judgment. So we want those motorcyclists to remember to come over here and have a good time, but even one drink is too many to get on a motorcycle. Police will be out in force and there will be a zero tolerance for those people who do drink and ride.
Sharing the roads with motorcyclists requires special attention. Motorists should double-check traffic at intersections before pulling out, check their blind spots before changing lanes, and treat motorcyclists with the same respect they give to other motorists. Additional tips can also be found at flhsmv.gov. The Volusia County Public Library System is celebrating Healthy Living Month at your local library with a series of free programs that offer health and wellness tips, Medicare advice, and information about common diseases of the elderly.
The variety of the programs that we have, everything from eye health to programs about Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, to being up and moving to get us healthy. We have programs on brain health and how to eat better, all those things. Besides the resources that are at the library, like the databases and our books and DVDs, you can get an exercise DVD, you can get a book about keeping your brain alert, all those kind of things that we want our citizens to take advantage of.
Danny Inez of the local Alzheimer's Association reached out to caregivers during a free workshop at the Daytona Beach Regional Library at City Island. He provided information about the early and middle stages of Alzheimer's disease and explained how his organization can lend a helping hand to caregivers. Across the county, New Smyrna Beach Library patrons learned about the health benefits of organic foods and where they can find local produce. Children got into the fun too during a special story time at the DeLand Regional Library. They learned that some foods can be healthy and yummy for the tummy. For a complete list of healthy living programs at the Volusia County Public Library System, visit volusia.org/healthy.
Hello, I'm Reggie Santilli, and I'm a member of Volusia Eco Advisory Committee. The volunteer group works closely with Volusia County Council and makes recommendations on projects that enhance the quality of life for our citizens. It's an honor and a pleasure to serve in this capacity. If you would like to share your skills and serve your community, why not consider joining one of Volusia County's advisory boards? We have openings on several boards. If you want to make a difference in your community, please visit volusia.org/advisory.
This is the time of year when you see more black bears around Central Florida. They're looking for food. Here and Now reporter Joanne Magley brings us the bear facts on how we can coexist with these Florida natives.
Bears have been here for millennia. They're a native species to Florida. The peak season of human-bear conflict is right now in the fall.
More than 3,000 black bears call Florida their home. And when bears wander into human territory, it's usually the humans' fault.
Most of the time, it's an issue just about an attractant that the bear wants. Instead of eating berries or nuts all day, they could get in your garbage and get their full day's worth of calories in one sitting. And so the bear's going to take the easy way out.
Mike Orlando is a bear biologist for the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission. And the message that he tries to spread is to make sure there's nothing in your yard that would attract bears. Bears usually get 10,000 calories a day, but in the fall, when they're getting ready for the winter, they're trying to get around 30,000 a day.
So they're really consuming as much food as possible. And if you had to, go out in the forest and eat berries and nuts all day long, 30,000 calories is a lot for a bear. And so if they could find a garbage can or a bird feeder or dog food on the back porch or something like that, they're going to take it because they're literally just trying to pack on the weight for the wintertime.
One of the biggest bear attractants is trash, and many times all it takes is a bear-resistant trash can to keep the bears at bay. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission started a pilot program to study the use of bear-resistant trash cans in a section of the Glenwood neighborhood in Volusia County. The project was paid for by the Wildlife Foundation of Florida using funds from the Conserve Wildlife license plate.
So far, the people love the cans. Most of them, I'll drive around looking and they'll flag me down and say, oh my gosh, I love the cans. We haven't had any bear problems since. So the cans are working. The problem that we're having is just on the other side of the street and just around where we put these bear-resistant cans, they're starting to see an increased bear problem.
But Orlando says that's to be expected when you have one area that is secure, which causes bears to look for another unsecure food opportunity. The hope is that eventually the bear-resistant cans will be available throughout the county. The Commission also found a solution to a bear attractant problem at De Leon Springs State Park, a bear-resistant dumpster.
So after we brought out the dumpster, what did you find?
After you brought out they brought the dumpster out, no bears at all. It was immediate. We haven't seen any. They were coming back here because the pancake batter from the restaurant, and they were having a heyday back here, but not anymore.
Instead of a typical plastic lid, this bear-resistant dumpster has a very heavy metal lid which the bear can't lift, as well as a heavy sliding door with a pin lock. Orlando says it's easy to live in harmony with the bears and save their lives by simply securing the temptation of trash and other attractants. But more importantly,
enjoy bears. You know, they're a wild species that we have in the state. They're sort of a symbol of the forest. You know, usually healthy ecosystems have bears as part of that ecosystem.
To learn more about black bears and for tips on how to reduce bear attractants, visit myfwc.com/bear. For Volusia Here and Now, I'm Joanne Magley.
In today's horticulture series, Volusia County Extension Agent Joe Sewards will tell us how we can grow our own home garden by using alternative growing methods.
Hi, this is Joe Sewards. I'm the University of Florida Volusia County Extension Urban Horticulture Agent. Today I'm at the 23rd Annual Volusia County Home and Garden Show, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about alternative growing systems. Part of my job as the urban horticulturist is to show people unique ways of growing plants, and in this case, unique ways of growing fruits and vegetables so that everybody can grow at least some of their own food at home. There are a number of alternative growing systems available, and we can show you those at the County Extension Office. This is one example of a growing system that anybody can use at their home, even if you live in an apartment or a condominium, or if you have poor soil, places where you otherwise thought you couldn't grow vegetables and fruits at home. These types of systems will allow you to do that. And you start with something like this, and it can become something like this. This is Malabar spinach, which is obviously a vine. It's growing in one of these systems. There's soil in the box, and the plant is growing this way. It grows very, very quickly, and it's edible. So if someday you want a salad, you can simply come out, pick off a few leaves, and have your own homegrown salad with plants like this and many other things. There are a number of plants that can be grown in alternative growing systems. This is an eggplant. Eggplants are in the tomato family. You can grow tomatoes this way, peppers, cucumbers, squash, any number of edible plants, and you can incorporate these into the Florida-friendly landscape. Alternative growing systems are very efficient. Plants grow very quickly in them. They use very few resources compared to traditional gardening. Not that there's anything wrong with traditional gardening, but again, if you don't have the room, if you live in an apartment, if you live in a condominium where you can't have a traditional vegetable garden, this is a way to grow at least a portion of your own food at home and becoming even more Florida-friendly in your home landscape. Another advantage of alternative growing systems is they take up a lot less space, they use a lot less water, fewer pesticides, so they can be more environmentally friendly. They are very productive, as you can see here with the okra. Perfectly wonderful okra using no pesticides. They're in a smaller space, so they're easier to care for. There are no weeds. So alternative growing systems offer the homeowner a way to grow vegetables in a more healthy way. And instead of having to go to the store to buy something that you might have run out of, how neat would it be to have it in your own backyard, just like okra?
To learn more about this or any other subjects related to horticulture, contact Joe Sewards at 386-822-5778, or you can visit the Volusia County Extension website at volusia.org/extension. Time now to head into the studio to join our very own Community Information Director, Dave Byron, and his guest, Ray Salazer, Executive Director of the Volusia Flagler United Way.
Thanks, Amber, and hi, everyone. You know, the United Way is the one charitable organization that Volusia County government endorses and encourages its employees to support. And that's because the United Way supported agencies provide such a wide variety of services that probably 1 out of 3 people will be helped in one way or another by a United Way funded agency. This year's United Way Fund Drive is underway, and so is county government's employee campaign. The United Way is our subject today, and our guest in the studio is Ray Salazer. He's the Executive Director of the Volusia Flagler United Way. Ray, thanks for being with us. How you doing?
Dave, I always enjoy this invitation. Thanks for asking.
You know, every year, you know, you set the bar and you try to set it a little higher. Been tough times in the last few years. You know, let's talk about where the bar is this year. What are you trying to do?
Well, raise more money than we did last year.
You always try to do that, huh?
Always. But if we can get to the $2.6 million mark, we'll be right on target.
And how did you do last year, Ray?
Last year we came in just a little under, just slightly under, but through some real good budgeting and some work through our partner agencies, we were able to get more money out in the allocations process. So we actually got more money out to purchase services in the community.
Hey, Ray, you know, obviously, you know, these have been tough times. We talked about it last year and the year before, how it was, you know, a real squeeze for a lot of people. But now you're seeing a lot of signs in the Volusia Flagler area that the economy is starting to turn itself around. Construction industry seems to be coming back and so forth. That's got to be good news for the United Way.
Oh, absolutely. Every positive indicator, it builds a little more confidence.
Yeah.
And confidence is the thing that drives charitable giving. If folks are confident and they have confidence of their paycheck,
right,
and then they trust your capacity to be able to, you know, measure it and deliver and make sure the right agencies are involved, they'll give, and they'll give generously.
What do you hear, Ray, when you go out and talk to big companies? I know you have your ear to the business community. You have a lot of the significant business people on your board and so forth. What kind of buzz are you getting from them?
Well, we're seeing some positive. For example, our banking friends are feeling a little bit better than they did this year than they did last year.
Right.
So things are starting to happen. Loans are starting to be written, and so that's a good indicator that things are on the mend. The housing industry is coming up. Permits are being issued. There's more of those. So all again, we're thinking that you know, we're going to come out of this, you know, with a trajectory maybe a little bit steeper than we would like. It came out flat, but it's coming out. It's nose up.
You know, one of the things we like to talk about is the fact that, you know, the United Way is the one and only charitable organization, charitable opportunity that county government's management actually gets behind and encourages its employees to give generously. And I get the reason for that, I guess, is because the United Way touches such a broad number of ways that you can benefit the community. County employees play a big role in the United Way campaign.
They do indeed. I mean, it's blessedly now it's a little more stable employment platform, and but the county employees see firsthand some of the needs of the county, and they see United Way as a good partner to be able to get into the rest of the industry, raise some dollars, and meet some unmet needs that this community has.
And really, the United Way is almost exclusively a volunteer type organization. You have a small administrative staff that keeps things going, but really you depend on volunteers and those corporate icons to provide the leadership.
You know, that's the power and the strategy that we like in not-for-profit management. It's a small paid staff driving the work of a lot of volunteers. Last year, Dave, well, our entire board of directors are volunteers, so they give us a lot of value. But last year, 2,753 volunteers provided over 13,000 hours of volunteer time to do the work of United Way.
Wow.
Now, that 13,000 hours, if I had to go out and purchase that, it would have been well over $400,000.
No question.
Yeah.
Ray, you mentioned 35 partner agencies, and you know, we've talked about it in the past, but it's worth continuing to stress. It's not easy to qualify for United Way funding. It's not just that you have to have a big heart. You have to have the wherewithal and the demonstrated success to receive these dollars.
And we measure that every single year. We vet that process every year. Performance outcome measurements are stated and held accountable. And we find out how those dollars are spent, and then measure what changes in the community.
Right.
And we can do that pretty well now.
And one of the interesting things, Ray, closer and closer working relationship with the counties, the charitable organizations, and some of the other organizations that do this kind of work. I mean, we're kind of looking at this picture more holistically now, and I know the United Way is a leader in this, to make sure that those agencies that receive dollars, that there's not duplication, that we're spending the dollars not just through your agency, but public funds and et cetera, in an efficient way that's targeted toward real need.
That's exactly right, Dave. I mean, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
Right.
So we have to set up those metrics to be able to, and then apply the criteria. There's not enough dollars to go around, so how do we extend those dollars? I mean, everything from pantry services.
Right.
It's one thing to feed a family, be able to give them a bag of food, but if they're coming back every week, there's something more.
Right.
There's another problem on the table that needs to be resolved. So getting into those kinds of issues and seeing if there's other services to prevent that, those conditions from occurring. And then to your point, working with the funders, working with the Children and Families Advisory Board and other funders in our community to make sure that we're not overlapping.
Right.
We don't have the money and time to be able to duplicate services.
Speaking about resources, Ray, one of the things that the United Way does is you run that 211 system, which I guess is a number that people can call if they're struggling with where to go for a certain need. You all kind of steer them in the right direction, I understand.
It's the first call that people should make to see if services exist in the community, and if so, what agencies might be able to participate, including our county's community services folks. Right. They provide a lot of service as well. So between those wonderful folks in county and all of the partner agencies, will find a bag of food. We may be able to find a little rent assistance or a little utility assistance, but it's not. But it may be that they may have to go to one agency for this and another agency for that.
Right.
But start with 211.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ray. I mean, it's daunting for people. Yes. They don't know where to go.
That's exactly
and so
right.
your folks are trained to kind of steer that person in maybe one or more than one way.
That's right. Last year, about 18,000 calls were received at 211. About a third of those come from our Flagler community, and then the rest come out of Volusia. Right. So and the things that are being sought after the most still remain the same: food, rent, and utility assistance.
Yep, no question.
All those things help prevent homelessness. So we want to get that done. We want to get folks there so they're not living in the woods. They're not living in cars.
Ray, I think just about everyone thinks that when they write a check out of their budget, and the county employees, the money comes out of their budgets, not the tax dollars. Right. But when people write a check or give at the workplace and so forth, I think they want to make sure that their contributions are staying in the community and they're actually going to services. When you're asked that question, how do you answer that?
The very first response is, dollars raised here, stay here. We don't buy outside services. The only dollars that we'll send out is for our brand. We are a member of United Way Worldwide. We have a membership responsibility. It's a small membership, and we get a lot of return for that investment. We get training opportunities, best practices, get to communicate with a lot of other United Ways and communities on how they're resolving issues in the community. Right. So it's a good investment for the brand.
And in terms of the percentage of dollars that go to the agencies themselves versus administrative overhead for yourself and your staff and so forth, it's a pretty small percentage of admin cost to actual dollars for services.
Right now, out of every dollar that is donated, 84 cents goes right back out the door to buy services. That means that's a 16% overhead. That in standards that the state of Florida and the federal government measure against, that's fairly low, because they say 25% is adequate and 75% out the door. So working hard, as this economy improves, as giving comes up, it's just a function of math. A little more revenue will make that formula change. It'll drive that percentage down.
And I think, Ray, I've learned from you in past talks is that I guess roughly around 2/3 of the money that comes in to the United Way is from people who sign pledges or give through
workplace giving through
their employment. That's how the county employees mostly do it. So for those people that may be retired, maybe they're self-employed or whatever, what about that other third? How can they help the United Way?
Well, all they have to do is call, reconnect with United Way, and most often They may have been given to a United Way up north when they were working, or in some other location. All they need to do is call our office, 253-0563, and listen to the phone tree, and we'll be able to get you in the right place to be able to reconnect. So we have a good residential program right now. So if people want to either volunteer, if they want to give, or they want to help us in any other advocacy role, give us a call. We'll put them to work.
And Ray, you know, we pointed this out, and I think it's worth noting that there are people that have a certain affinity for a certain type of agency, whether it be an elderly organization or, you know, homeless or whatever it might be, and they can actually designate where those dollars go, correct?
We are an Open Designations United Way, which means that we're not going to let that choice get in the way of the giving.
Right.
And folks have their favorites. There's no question about it. Whether it be their church, their alma mater, or one of our partner agencies, in that pledging process, all they need to do is say, "I want these dollars to go here," and we'll make it happen.
No doubt, though, Ray. Like myself, I mean, I just allocate whatever I can give to the United Way. No doubt, though, that those dollars are probably going to touch about a third of the people in one way or another in Volusia County. Isn't that the statistic you use?
That's right. Well, it's 1 out of 3. One out of three people in Volusia and Flagler counties is touched by a United Way funded program.
Right.
So that's accurate.
Ray, for people that may want more information, perhaps they want to get in touch with you, maybe they want a presentation at their civic group, or maybe they just want to write you out a check. How do they get in touch with you?
Website is liveunitedinvolusiaflagler.org, or just call that number, 253-0563.
Well, Ray, I want to thank you very much for sharing the information with us. You know, let's hope that the United Way campaign goes way over the bar this year.
That'd
and then
be nice.
You can set that bar even higher next year.
Indeed. Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Our guest today, Ray Salazer. He's the Executive Director of the Volusia Flagler United Way. County government's campaign is underway, and so is this year's overall United Way campaign in Volusia and Flagler County. And with that, we'll go back to you, Amber.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council's meeting calendar there too. In fact, you can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. You just might want to mark this on your calendar. The New Smyrna Beach Regional Library is hosting a discussion by Florida educator Gerald A. Honigman about his new book, The Quest for Justice in the Middle East, The Arab-Israeli Conflict in Greater Perspective. It's at 2 p.m. Thursday, October 17th. You can get more information at volusialibrary.org. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today, Volusia County Government's weekly radio program. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday and Sunday mornings at the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Patterson. Have a wonderful evening.